I believe this morning that God has laid a word on my heart. What a great message we had last Sunday about the vision, everything that God had put on Mark's heart, over 6 years ago before he even came. Wasn't it fantastic? That's three of us. Wasn't it fantastic to hear what God is doing, what God's releasing us into? And I don't know about you, but I just sense that this January, we're in February, crumbs. When did that happen? Christmas is nearly here. So we're in February now, but I believe all the way kind of through January, it felt to me, I don't know if anyone else felt not only this moment of consecration, this moment of just being in the presence of God and laying stuff down and picking up what God wants for us, but I felt in my life as well that God's been dismantling that nest around about me, that nest that Mark spoke about last week, that thing that makes us feel comfortable with our walk with God and all that stuff that makes us feel that we're in our comfort zone, that God is beginning to just unpack that. He's beginning to dismantle that to get us to a place where we start to feel a little uncomfortable about where we're at. We feel that there's a next step that we've got to go. In fact, it's the step of total and utter abandonment to the purposes and plans that God has for us. I want to tell you, selling yourself out to the purposes of God is not radical. It is totally and utterly normal. Totally normal. In fact, Jesus, when he left the physical presence on this earth, he said to you, I go, but I send one to you. And he called him the Comforter. I put it to you, members of the jury. It's only uncomfortable people that need a comforter. Yeah. And sometimes we allow our Christian walks in our own minds to become a place of comfort, a place where we feel that we can handle what we're doing. In fact, I often ask the question to myself, how much faith does it take me to walk this faith walk that I'm walking at the moment? Am I actually walking some of this in my own strength, my own purpose, my own plan, because I feel comfortable with that place? When actually what I realized that this week just gone by, I've been a Christian for 42 years. Whee! Fantastic. And in that 42 years, I still realize now, as an 8-year-old boy, I realize that someone pointed out to me that there is a plan and there is a purpose that God has for my life. And he wants to pour his spirit, 7-year-old boy, he wants to pour his spirit upon me. There is a dream, a vision, a plan that is there for me to grasp hold of. And here I am, just in a few days, approaching 50. And here I am in a few days' time, and I still realize that I have only just hit the tip of the iceberg of all the plans, of all the purposes, of all the dreams, of everything that God has for me. And I have yet to find out the great things that God has. And you're in that boat as well. In fact, I'll put it this way to you. If you're still breathing, God has a plan for your life. If you're still breathing, could the people who aren't breathing please lift up their hands this morning? You see, there's a plan, there's a purpose for your life. And I believe that God is trying to do a new thing within your life. But are we willing to take the safe option? Are we willing to realize we're in no safer place than where we are at the moment? The question I've got for you today is this: how are you going to fly? Wasn't it a bit weird last Sunday, the way we finished the second service? Was anyone else here for that? It was a kind of like a bit kind of out there, wasn't it? When at the end of it, or during Mark's message, he mentioned R. Kelly and the words of the song, I believe I can fly, I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every day, spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar, I see myself running through that open door. I believe I can fly, I can believe I can fly, I believe I can fly. It was a bit strange. Des got up and said, come on, let's sing it. And then I'm at church singing, I believe I can fly. There are people with their hands raised like this going, what's going on? It's a bit of a parallel universe. I was so freaked out, I had to go buy a new pair of shoes and a coat. Weird. Well, that's my excuse. I think I might be freaked out a bit today as well. Hey, because God's calling us to live a life beyond anything we'd ever dreamed. But yeah, on a Sunday, we're singing, I believe I can fly. We're listening to the words, I believe I can touch the sky. We hear a preach from the platform here or over there or wherever it may be in the weeks to come. We're going, that's what I can believe for. I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to fly high. And then on Monday morning or Tuesday morning, suddenly, we're not listening to the words of Scripture anymore. Or perhaps the inspirational words of that, I believe I can fly, but suddenly the philosopher of Orville the duck comes into mind. And there I've left the word out, but it says, I wish I wish I could fly right up in the sky, but I can't. And it's okay, Des, you don't need to sing it today. We're not going there today. It's not that weird a time, but I wish I could fly right up in the sky because we've gone from, oh, I believe I can fly to I wish I could fly. I wish I could do it. And we're questioning ourselves and saying, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure I can do it. You can move Orville. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. But yet the great puppeteer came and put his hand on Orville. I'll tell you what, you won't hear John Glass talking about Orville next week. He comes, he puts his hand on it, and this thing comes alive and starts to sing. I believe I can fly. I wish I could fly. I wish I could touch the sky. I don't think I can do it. And God comes. It's the master of our lives. He says, you can. You can fly. In fact, Nigel, you've never been in such a safe place as you are at the moment. Even though you feel like the nest has been dismantled around about you. And there's purposes and dreams you've got to give yourself to. And you're going to free fall for a while. Learn what it is to spread your wings and to fly high. You can fly, Nigel, you can do it. You can soar on the wings of eagles. You can rise up. You can take the challenge. You can do everything that I need you to do. You can fulfill the plans and purposes in you. It's going to be scary. Scary moments. But you've got to realize that in the scariest moment for this little eagle that Mark mentioned last week, when he's taken by that parent eagle and he's taken up and then he's let go, that squawk probably comes. I don't know if it does, but that squawk probably comes. Open your wings. Open your wings, and this little eagle begins to plummet and plummet and plummet, but it's never been so safe. Even though it's plummeting, because the control is still in the heart of the parent, as that big eagle would soar down and come down and catch it under it and raise it up and take it to a place where it lets it go again, and once again the squawk comes, open your wings. And finally, after a few times, the little eagle realizes, if I open my wings, a new experience can happen to me. Where I've known the safety, I've known the comfort of the nest. I've now fed myself, but there's a moment that if I open my wings, I fly to heights. I see things in a different way that I've never seen before. And I believe there are calls that God's bringing on your life up there on the royal box in whatever section you're in. There are calls that are coming to your life which are saying, I want you to fly. Believe you can fly. You've never been in the safest place. Even though I'm exposing you, even though I'm taking you and taking away the nest of comfort, you've known what it is to have the provision. You've known what it is to be fed. But now you're going to see things from a different perspective and a different height. I'm going to take you. You're going to feel like you're free falling, but the safety is the mighty hand of God that there's to catch you. As he catches us, takes us back to the height and says, you can fly, spread your wings. He catches us again. Fly, you can spread your wings. And eventually, we learn, I can fly. I can fly. You see, the eagle, this isn't a moment as he spreads his wings where he's rushing. It's not a moment where he's in turmoil. For the eagle, when he hits a thermal, it's a warm piece of air that's moving upwards. And there he spreads his wings. He doesn't flap. He doesn't say, am I going to keep flying here? He spreads his wings by the provision of the thermal that's been put there. And he begins to soar and just circle. Not flapping. Not expending energy in a way that you shouldn't be expending energy and he's going to be tired at the end of it, but recouping the energy that it needs. Begins to soar. And it can soar up to 3 miles higher than it was. And suddenly, from 3 miles up above the earth, it sees a different perspective than it's ever seen before. I reckon, guys, there's a perspective that God wants you to see. But the question is, how are you going to fly? How are you going to fly? How are you going to be scary? How are you going to be scared? Perhaps it will probably scare the pants off you. It will probably bring you some excitement in your life, stepping out and saying, okay, God, what does it take? I'm just going to abandon myself to the purposes of God. I'm not sure necessarily what it may look like, but I'm still going to abandon myself to your plan and your purpose. It may feel initially like you're out of your comfort zone, but guys, I've never done a step for God. From my experience, I've never found a step for God that I felt comfortable in. God's never called me to something I felt comfortable. It's always been a bigger coat than I've wanted to wear. Because when God calls me to something, he doesn't see me how I am, but he sees me what I'm growing into. And therefore, he puts something around me that can feel bigger than me and feel stronger than me and can feel a bit overwhelming. But he knows that I'm not going to stay the size and have the perspective that I've got today, but I'm going to grow into what God is bringing me to. And suddenly that mantle that seemed so big now begins to fit. And I spread my wings and I begin to fly. A perspective that you never saw before. In fact, I want to put it to you guys, if you don't feel the call of God on your life is bigger than you can handle, you need to go back and seek God's face for some more. Because I don't think I've ever got to a place where actually I feel I can handle. Because every time I fill a coat, God exchanges it. He says, come on, there's something more for you. There's a plan, there's a purpose that I've got for your life. I just want to encourage you. You're so much better when you're just being you. There on the screen, we've got a picture of the red arrows. This has probably been doctored, but I love the picture. For some of you, it will be about being in a team and having an individual part. For some of you, it could well be about flying solo and just being yourself. You know, you're better at being you than you are at being me. Don't try and be Nigel, because I don't even do Nigel very well. But I tell you what, you do you absolutely brilliantly. And your plan and your purpose for your life is the very thing that God's getting you to the edge and going, come on, are you ready to go? Let's spread the wings. Let's go for it. And we want to give you permission today in this place to be unique and be yourselves. To find yourself, to seek God's face, to come before him, to say, God, what is it that you want me to be involved in? Who is it you want me to be? I don't mind being strange for you, God, but I want to be strange for you if you're calling me to be strange. I don't mind being weird, but if you're calling me to be weird, that's fine. God does some strange stuff, guys. Have you read in the Bible where he said to a prophet, take all your clothes off and walk around for a few years before you say a word? That's a little weird. Please, Lord, don't let that happen here. And God calls some strange stuff to happen in each and every one of our lives, but we want you to feel and be yourselves. Guys, you've never been so safe. With a pastoral team that loves you and cares for you, a leadership that wants to see the best in you, but over and above that, times it by millions and millions and millions and infinite. You've never been so safe when the hand of God is right there for you and he's saying, fly, I believe you can fly. Come on, fly like you've never flown before. And Moses, in the scripture in Exodus, he comes to a place where he's been born. They are killing the babies around about him. He's put into a basket, so all the children around his age, the boys, they're putting it into a basket. He's been sent down the river. Pharaoh's daughter has taken him out of the basket. He's gone into the palace. He's begun this life in the palace, a life of luxury. His mother's come in and taught him the Hebrew ways. He's now walking around as an adult. He's walking around. He's going out. He's seeing how the Hebrews are being treated. Something has angst him so much. Something just riled him. He ends up killing an Egyptian slave owner. He ends up killing him and burying him. He then finds he's in fear of Pharaoh. He runs. He finds himself in the backside of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. And suddenly, out of nowhere, God tries to grab his attention. And there with a burning bush, this bush starts to burn, and suddenly it gets Moses' attention. He looks, and it says he goes over and he has a little look, and God begins to speak to him there. And it's at that very point, as God has spoken to him, we pick up in these scriptures now. And in Exodus chapter 4, verse 1 to 4, it says this, but Moses protested again. Is there anybody else here that's ever protested against what God wants them to do? Oh, that's us. I'm not sure about that, God. I don't think I can fly. I don't think you're really calling me to do that. That coat seems a bit big for me. Actually, I'm just putting up another protest again. But Moses protested again. Moses was a great man of God. I want to tell you, you're in good company if you've done some protesting before. I'm in good company when I know if Moses protested, it's okay. God can get over me protesting. And Moses protested again. He said, but what if they don't believe me? What if they don't listen to me? Let's put some context on that for you guys. You see, he had murdered this guy. He's now feeling that he's going out the next day to have a little look around. And he sees two Hebrews. They're now fighting. And he stops the fight. Why are you fighting amongst yourselves, guys? And he says, are you going to kill us like you killed the Egyptian? And suddenly fear fills his heart. And the Egyptian looks at him and says, are you the priest? Are you the king? Are you the leader of us? Is that what that's all about? And he gets fearful about it, and he begins to run, and he runs to the backside of the desert. And right now, he's been told to go back and speak to the very people. The last thing he had heard from a Hebrew, the last thing he had heard was, do you think you're a leader? Do you think you're a king? And for all these years, he's been in the backside of the desert with something going around his head going, you can't lead them. You're not a king. They don't even think you're a king. They're questioning you. They questioned you a few years ago. Or many, many years ago. It can't be you. And God comes to him and says, I'm calling you to be the man that you're destined to be. And he protests. What if they won't follow me? What if they won't lead? What if they say the Lord never appeared to you? And the Lord asked him a question. I hate it when he asks me a question with my question. Don't you? The Lord asked him a question. What's in your hand? And he said, a shepherd's staff, Moses replied. Throw it down on the ground, the Lord told him. So Moses took it and he threw the staff and it turned into a snake. And Moses jumped back. And the Lord told him, reach out and grab its tail. So Moses reached out and grabbed it and turned it back. And it turned back into a shepherd's staff in his hand. Guys, I believe there are scary moments in front of us, but it's time for us to spread our wings. I remember going to somebody's house once. They were in need, and you're trying to build a bit of rapport and just trying to see how they're doing. I walked in, and they had one of these snake tanks. It was massive. If there's one thing I really don't like, it's snakes. I'm not a great keen lover of snakes, and I thought I'll go over and have a look. There's glass there. And I went over. I said, oh, you got snakes, big old python, never seen anything so big in my life. And he looked, he said, yeah, do you want to hold it? I immediately rebuked him in the name of Jesus. Spoke in tongues everywhere. Thank you very much. And he got it out. I said, go on then. I've got this thing where there's healthy challenge. where there's difficulty, where there's something you've got to do because you know you've been doing it, I often need to rise to that challenge. I'll tell you why. Because if there's a difficulty that I'm going to feel I'm going to run away from, if I run away, the next time I've got a difficulty, it's easier for me to run away. So I've decided I ain't going to run away from stuff that fears me anymore. I'm going to stand up to it. So he said, do you want to hold it? And I went, yes. Yeah, I'd love to. That would be absolutely brilliant. He takes his python out. He puts it around me. This thing began to tighten around about me. He looked, he went, oh, it's hungry. What? He didn't say, do you want to hold a hungry snake? He said, do you want to hold a snake? He said, you unwrap the tail, I'll unwrap the head. I think it felt the fear, the smell of fear and Cornishman combined was very appetizing. And there, with all our energy, we held on to this back of this snake as we began to unravel it. You see, God said to Moses, throw it down on the ground, the Lord told him. The next slide, please. So Moses threw it down, and the staff turned into a snake, and Moses jumped back. Whoever said this Christian walk wasn't scary? Whoever said this Christian walk wasn't scary? Next slide, please, if that's okay. Whoever said this Christian walk wasn't scary? When did we guys start believing that God wants to send us to safe places and to do easy things? When did I question myself? When did Jesus die to keep me safe and not make me dangerous? I've not been called to hold the fort. I grew up with songs and hymns. Hold the fort, for I am coming to remember singing that one. How depressing. I've not just been called to hold the fort. I've been called to take advancement to the kingdom of God and banish and raid the gates of hell. Come on. Be told, come on, let's go for it. This walk is the most wonderful plan and purpose that God has for us, guys. Don't treat your Christian walk as an insurance plan. It's a dangerous plan that God wants you to have, but I'd rather be standing in the perfect will and dangerous plan of God than be in no disobedience and walking not in his plan. Called. Whoever said it wasn't scary? It is. But our lives of complete surrender, I said it before, is not radical. It's totally and utterly normal, guys. And here in Scripture, we say Abraham was told to leave his family and go to a land that God would show him. He didn't even know where he was going. It's pretty radical. Noah was told to build an ark. Don't worry about the cost. I'll send a flood. What's a flood? I'll send the rain. What's rain? He just did it anyway. Pretty radical. The disciples put down their nets. They left their jobs to follow a man that hadn't proven himself. But they still did it. It wasn't until after the first miracle, it says right after the miracle, changed the water into the wine, it says because of this miracle, the disciples believed. They gave up their jobs, pretty radical. Joshua was told to pick up the mantle of Moses. The first thing he's told, be strong and courageous. Radical. Elisha becomes an apprentice. He's sowing some seeds. He's got the oxen. They come and said, follow me. Don't even say goodbye to your family. Just follow me. Radical. He's so empowered by God. When he goes to take up the mantle of the one he's following, he picks it up. Before he puts it on, he said, give me a double portion. Radical. Nehemiah, a cupbearer, just giving wine to the king, called to build a city and rebuild a wall. Ezekiel, God laminates. Is there anyone who can stand in the gap? Ezekiel said, I'll do it. Radical. Yeah. Esther marries into a nation and said, I've been born for such a time as this. Radical. Wings flying high. David who stood there amongst his brothers and said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that dares defy the armies of the living God? His brothers probably turned to him and said, you cheeky little whipsnap, you're not even in the army. But there with his sling and his stones, he took on Goliath. Radical! Barnabas looks at Paul, and where others didn't believe his conversion, Barnabas looked and said, something's happened in that man's life, and the rest is history. What do you see in others? Begin to fly, be radical. The list could go on. John the Baptist took so many risks. Gideon, I'm the least of my father's house. We're the least of the tribes. Hey, but you're still going to lead an army. Radical. Deborah earned a reputation of wisdom and strength. Radical. Caleb was told that he had a different spirit. Radical. And now Moses is called to lead a nation. Come out from behind the desert. Start to realize you can fly. Yes, you can. You can say no, you can't, all you like. But God's not calling you to be an insurance plan. He's calling you for a dangerous plan, to spread your wings and to fly. And to fly. But it can be scary. Ange, do you want to come and join me, darling? Is that all right? This is my wife. Do you want to give her a round of applause? It's interesting when fear and challenge, well, not fear, but being scared, and challenge and peace coexists. How long have we been together, Andrea? Not just married, but how long have we been together?
Since 1987, whatever that is.
33 years.
Yeah, 33 years this year.
33 years this year. That isn't bad, is it? Hey, you'll get your reward in heaven, I'm sure. And I did say to you, I did promise you, when we held hands and kissed for the first time. You know when you hold hands and suddenly that nerve goes up your hand, into your neck, into your lips. All that. Hey, it happened really quick to me. Yeah. I've totally thrown myself now. I didn't mean it. And I said we would live a life of adventure. How's the last 33 years been? Have I lived up to that adventure?
It's certainly been a roller coaster.
Okay. So there have been times in our married life when I've come and said, I feel God is saying this. And I wanted to bring some reality today. So there have been times when we've led churches and taken on churches. We've planted church. We have done ministries, itinerated around the country. There's never been a moment when we've thought about money in the context of how we're getting paid. We felt God was going to do it. I kind of go, should we do it? And I got to take my honor this lady this morning. When I've said I feel God saying this, she's just gone and said, how can we make it happen? Which has been wonderful and bankrolled most of our ministry. However, there was a time when we went into charity and we gave up the church and went and ran a charity. We came here. That was another adventure that we're still on. Long may it continue. Let's make this house our place. And then there was a time when I came to you and said, I feel I need to give up engineering. I had a little engineering company. We were doing really well, earning good money. In fact, I could work a few weeks, and then I didn't have to work, and the church didn't have to pay me, and I could work for the church. When I needed to work again, I'd work another week or two in the evenings. Do some work as a design engineer, computer-aided design, electrical and mechanical design engineer. I'd do that from home. God was prospering us. And then I went and, do you remember I went to the moors and I met a guy and he had loads of cars, Lamborghinis. I came back going, you should have seen the cars. Lamborghinis, everything. He had a few projects he wanted to do. He said, can I do all the work? He said, give me a price. I thought of a price. I doubled it. He said yes too quickly. Thought I should have added more. And I said, I can't start the work. I need to go to a conference next week. Whilst I was at the conference, God said, don't do that job. Now, that was a year's salary for us, yeah? And I came and I said, Andrea, I can't do the engineering anymore. What did that feel like? at that moment?
Yeah, it was a year's salary for 6 weeks' work. So within that context, when he said that, I think I said, are you mad? Has God really said that? Really? And I'd like to stand here and say, actually, I had complete peace and I was serene all the time, but being completely honest with you, I wasn't. It can be quite terrifying when you're facing the future and you don't know what's going to happen.
So, did God ever let us down?
No.
What's some of the things that kind of happened? Can you remember any of those stories? Holiday, we did a holiday.
It's just, it's hard to think of examples off the top of my head, but I just know that if you just say yes and stand up, God spoke to me time and time again. My word is a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. And all you have to do is take the first step and be obedient. That's all you have to do. And then he meets you where you're at. And the provision, we've had holidays given to us, which actually you think, well, that's a bit of a luxury. But, it was the only time we kind of had together when you're working flat out to build something. It was just amazing. And God's provision has been there every step of the way. We've been given cars. Similarly, we've been able to give away cars ourselves. We've held everything quite lightly, I think. Yeah. God's been amazing and God's always been there.
One of those times was give her a round of applause, hey? And one of those times, we went on holiday, and we didn't have enough money. Somebody had given us a holiday, somebody had given us the flights. We had a few, I don't even think it was francs or euros. I don't know if it was euros in those days, I can't remember. But we had a little bit of money. And can you remember the second week? We were sat on the bed and we divided the money up because we had enough for a drink that night and then to give the kids an ice cream every day. And then we thought we'd go to the entertainment. And we had a little bit of food in the fridge. And we went for a meal and the lights went off halfway through the meal. And we were sat in darkness, and when they came on, they said they need to give us a discount, and they discounted it to the amount of money we had in your purse. Yeah. Which was fantastic. I thought I was going to do some washing up, but they did it. And then we went to the entertainment one night when we had just divided that money up. We didn't have enough money, the kids didn't know. And we sat there, and we said, we'll have water. And I went to the bar, and I thought, I'll blow it. Go on, I'll get Andrea a drink. So I went to buy a drink. And I had a drink as well, some drinks for the kids. And remember, I came back and the barman had said, no, these are free. Oh, wow. We came back, we had the drink. I thought, in for a penny, in for a pound. I went back up to the bar again. I said, I'll have some more drinks, please. He went, no, they're all being paid for. Tell us about what happened there. There was a guy there, wasn't there?
It was a family we met, wasn't it? They came from Leeds, lovely family. They weren't Christian family. We made friends with them, befriended them. And he said to us, didn't he? He said, I've just got a feeling I'm here on this holiday to spoil you and to treat you. And it was just amazing. We just waited for nothing, did we?
Yeah.
It was incredible.
So we made the most of it, yeah? We played tennis. We had massages. We sat in their high balcony drinking champagne. Come on. Well done. It's so good to be on a scary trip. Because when you put yourself out there, you've never been safer. How do I know what it is to fly? 4 ways, guys, as we finish, 4 ways of how we can know we can fly. I'm going to just say the headings. 4 ways that you can decipher what's in your hand. H, what's in your heart? What captures your heart, guys? What do you see every day? What is near around about you? What breaks your heart? A, angst. What's the thing that gets you going? Amazing that for Moses it was, they're not being treated well. When God spoke to him from the burning bush, he said, I've noticed that my people aren't being treated well. Isn't it great when your angst matches what God's worried about as well? Suddenly you've got a thermal to fly high. D, N, beg your pardon, need. What's the need that you see? God says, I'm going to take your heart of stone and make it a heart of flesh. Don't walk around with your eyes closed, guys. There's a need. Perhaps it's some of these things that are on your heart. That's your angst, your need, and fourthly, D, your dream. Perhaps, guys, it's a dream that you're carrying. It's time just to spread your wings. I'm so thankful for two people here today that have spread their wings, one 8 years ago and one very recently. And I'm going to invite to the stage Hannah, who's running the Me Project, and also Sue, who's running Choices. We give them a round of applause, guys. So you guys done an incredible moment of spreading your wings, taking the challenge that God has put ahead of you. Do you want to just share very briefly, if you could, what the Me Project is and what Choices is as well? That would be fantastic.
Yeah, so the Me Project is becoming a charity, and it is an organisation that will be building an app that will support young teenagers in low self-esteem.
Fantastic. Isn't that great?
Choices Pregnancy Centre supports people who are going through pregnancy-related difficulties, miscarriage, abortion, stillbirth, neonatal, infertility.
Fantastic. Isn't that great? So they're doing some great work. So what for you when you started, what was the thing that made you think, I've got to do this? This is the thing, this is the purpose that God's got for my life. This is where I've got to spread my wings. What was the scariest moment? What was the thing that is that okay?
Every first step's scary. For me, many, many years ago, I was supporting a young 13-year-old girl who'd had an abortion. And actually, we used to meet at the YMCA and help her through the huge amount of emotions that she couldn't understand or connect to. But then, fast forward several years, I was running around the park, just worshipping God, and I just said it would be a privilege to do whatever work he had to do. Was there anything he wanted me to get involved in? And I kept thinking of this young girl for no reason at all. And then the following week, the same thing happened, and I had a growing sort of sense that God wanted me to set up an organisation to support women who are going through baby loss. And it was really scary, but I'd sort of put that proposal towards God, and I didn't really like to say, well, no, but so I just said to him, well, I really don't know how to start on something like that, Lord. And straight away, he gave me a picture of a stationary escalator. And I felt him say to me, Sue, all you have to do is put your feet on that first step and press the start button, and the steps forward to getting something established will just rise up in front of you. And that's exactly what happened.
Fantastic. So that's your thermal, in effect,
yeah.
Taking you higher and moving forward. God's so good. Hannah, you've taken a scary step for yourself over recent weeks.
Yep.
As it's been recent and it's really fresh in your mind, what have those scary steps been, and what have been the blessings as well?
Sure. So scary steps was when I got to that point where I knew I had to do something. Then talking to my family and letting them know that I was going to go part-time when a year ago I just got a mortgage and was supposedly being an adult. Scary talking to my line manager and going part-time when I knew that would probably limit my career aspirations as well. And then the first day, when it was the day when I wasn't in my normal work, and I was there and I was at home and I was like, right, what do I do now then? That was scary. And then as it progressed, looking at my bank balance and seeing that quite a bit lower, that was pretty scary. But the provision has been seeing God place people that have been there all along and suddenly realize that they have all these different skills that we'll need as an organisation to grow and to develop, and just seeing him further them. And every time I'm like, right, so I need somebody to do this, and then somebody just pops out of nowhere.
Fantastic. So having started recently, but Sue, you've been on the road now for 8 years on your flight. What did that look like, and what does that look like now? What would be one of your needs that you have right now?
Okay, well, I can totally relate to what Hannah was saying. I got to a place where I really needed a salary, and there was an organisation put together by Coldplay a foundation. So I applied to them and got funding for part-time salary. So you can say indirectly, I'm employed by Chris Martin. And it's just so exciting, amazing things happening. I had someone who had a real passion to have a branch in Teignmouth, and so we needed funding for that. I knew Nigel had been involved in charity work, so I approached him, and we worked on a funding bid, and we got £10,000 for a charity of choices in Teignmouth. Last year, I was in liaison with some of the top medical people in Barnabas because they were aware that they provided no support for women in the whole of North Devon going through pregnancy difficulties. And scary as it was, we now have a clinic once a fortnight within the hospital supporting them. It's just amazing. But our needs in Exeter and Teignmouth, our client base has increased by 50%. And so we really need to train up more people in the work that we do. It's working through a program, so you don't need to have previous experience at all. We also need some more admin support. And we've got quite a few people here who are part of the team. So if you wanted to chat to them, please feel free. There's Heather, Janice, Ruth, Mandy, Barding. Heather, Janice. I was reciting this before I got up. There's one other person. Heather, Janice, Ruth,
And another.
Mandy. Sorry. Oh, Janine, of course. So that is our needs. We have got an ad in the news sheet this week with a few more details and my contact number if you want to find out more. That'd be great to hear from you.
Right, so come and see you. Yeah, fantastic. That's wonderful. Hannah, as we finish, what are the needs that you need now? What are the things that you're believing God for?
Yeah, so we are waiting on the Charity Commission to grant us charity status. They're currently running behind 4 months. So prayer that we will get Charity Commission granted by the end of February is our belief right now.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Could you give these guys a round of applause? Sorry, keep that. Give these guys a round of applause. Thank you very much. So as the band come back, if that's okay, the challenge to you is this: how are you going to fly? How are you going to step out and spread your wings? Guys, you may not know what it looks like. You may not have every I dotted and every T crossed. You may not realize what it could look like, but as your heart open to say, whatever's in my hand, what's in my heart, what's my angst, what's the need, what's the dream, God, whatever that looks like, this morning I make the first step. And the first step's the toughest step. Do you know what the first step is? The first step is, God, I want to fly. And if that's your dream today, I believe we've got a God that makes a way where there seems to be no way. So as the band lead us now, as we just do a few moments of worship, I'm going to challenge you, because that point of challenge can also be the most scariest, but also the most fruitful place you'll ever stand. This moment could change your life forever. Because I believe God's saying, pray, watch, listen, leap. Pray, watch, listen, leap. Come on, you can fly. Can you spread your wings and fly? Have we gone dead? We've gone dead. I believe I can fly. Do you? The music's gone dead, guys, but we're still alive. Do you want to stand to your feet if God's speaking to you right now? That'd be great. Fantastic. And we're back. Are we? No, we're not. We don't need music to pray, do we? Hey, I've got wings, and I can spread them. If anybody wants to fly, do you want to spread your wings at the moment? That'll be fantastic. Spread your wings to heaven. Just enable, say to God, I'm willing, God. I'm willing to fly. I'm willing to fly. I'm willing to fly. Come on. Hallelujah. Why don't we declare that together? I'm willing to fly. I'm willing to fly. Come on, whatever it takes. God, I pray you will purpose in the hearts of those that their hands raised today. God, get dreams, release dreams. Let their hearts become alive, Lord, I pray in the name of Jesus. Let them not put down what is placed in their hearts. God, I pray their angst, the thing that gets them going, will be the thing that fuels their vision. I pray, God, that they will see the needs that they come across and not be able to let them go. I pray you will nurture the dreams and you will fulfill the dreams and you will release the dreams. And together, God, we're not going to stay in the nest, because there's nowhere safer than being in the plan and purpose and the hand of God. So today, Lord, today we purpose in our hearts that we spread our wings and we fly. We go high. We have a different perspective than we have ever had before. We will not be banished by fear. We will not be banished and held back by our own insecurities, but we look on the purpose and the hand and the provision of God, and we will fly. Come on. Hallelujah.